Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and welcome to the Astral Library. Now technically I am editor Emily, but past Emily forgot to record an introduction to this video, so here I am doing this little intro. So today I have for you my magical readathon TBR. It is a month-long TBR, so you're going to see me read each and every book from my TBR for the magical readathon. If you haven't seen my last video, I'll post it here. That's where I kind of go over what classes I have and what books I'm reading. So if you want more information on what the books are about, that is the place to go. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump straight into this reading vlog and I hope you enjoy it. Hello, I just want to do a quick little check-in. So it is the first day of August and I'm sitting here in my living room and I'm going to start with the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 2. So that is my first read for this magical readathon TBR. I'm about 33 pages in. So like I've said, I've started this book before, so I haven't hit anything new yet, so it's just all kind of like recap of where I left off. So they're currently in this like ghost town and there's a whole bunch of fog that's leaving them trapped, and one of them has just been poisoned, so they're trying to figure that out. Again, not much happening. It's kind of a slow start, and especially since it's nothing new, I'm just The goal is to at least get to a page 100 tonight so I can finish this book as soon as possible. Alright, but I'm going to get back to reading, so I will catch you guys in a later update. Hi, pretty girl. Hello. It is about 11 o'clock. I am so exhausted. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. But before I do, just want to update you on Grandmaster. So I ended at about 110 pages, so I'm about part 4 of chapter 8. These chapters are so long. I do not know why they're so long. So I did get past where I like originally had started and left this book, but I wouldn't say like the story's picked up at all. It's pretty much it's almost exactly what happened in the show. So we're in this ghost town and we are encountering someone from Wei Wuxian's past and how he's kind of caused this ghost town per se. It was slow in the show. It's kind of slow in the book. I'm not even done with it. We're in a flashback kind of moment. So hopefully I can finish it up in the next like 50 or so pages just because I would like the story to move along. This wasn't the most exciting part in the show and it's really not that more exciting to read. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. So I will catch you all in the morning. So, minor check-in. It is about 2:30 and I'm on page 215. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from it, but it has definitely gotten better since the last like chunk I had read. It's less flashback, it's more kind of like, it was more action, and we definitely got a really cute romance scene. Actually, we got the scene, hold on, I'll show you. The book has a really cute illustration in it. This is one of the colored ones. So we got the scene for this illustration here, and it was actually really cute. It wasn't included in the show, or at least not to that extent. In the show, I believe when Lanjan got drunk, he like stole a pig for Wei Wuxian, but in here they were playing like this really kind of cute game of tag, and Lanjan had tied Wade up with his forehead ribbon, which is like a precious thing in Lanjan's clan, and like usually like a symbol of marriage. Like no one could touch this ribbon besides your family and like your partner. And so the fact that he tied Wei Wuxian up in that ribbon was super cute, and that they were playing tag, and then at one point Wei Wuxian was like talking and Lanjan was like sick of it. Mind you, he's drunk at this point. So all of this is very like silly and out of character for Lanjan. Wei Wuxian's talking and trying to like get Lanjan to let him go. But Lanjan puts his hand over his mouth trying to shut him up, and Wei licks him, which freaks Lanjan out, but at the same time he kind of likes it because he's a weirdo. And so they start playing this game of tag where Wei Wuxian's like trying to like joke like, oh, if I catch you, I'm gonna lick you again. And then he'd like purposely get himself caught and throw his arms around his neck, like where it's tied. And it was just a really cute moment. And I'm excited to keep reading this, even though I have to say, like, because I know I watched the show a few times and I just know the story really well, it's not as exciting because, like, I know the story, I know what's gonna happen, there's no twists and turns. So the only thing that's really keeping me going is these moments that are really cute that weren't in the show. I have like 120-ish pages left. It's only like 340 or something like that. So after I finish that, I don't know if I'm going to like I'm not gonna be super keen to finish the rest of the volumes, but I will probably eventually get through the rest of the series. I don't think I'm gonna give up on it, but I definitely think I need a break after it. Okay, but I'm going to do some errands around the house and then just get back to reading. So I'll catch you later. So it is day 3 of me trying to read Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation Volume 2. Last night I left off on page 257. So I'm almost in. I have maybe 80 or so, 90 or so pages, less than 100 for sure. I'm gonna see if I can try to finish this today so I can be done with it. I'm not enjoying it, but it's the part of the story that I slogged through in the show, and it's just an extra slog through the book of it. I'm not having like the best time in this, so I'll be glad when it's done because I'll be one book further to getting towards the end and getting towards that smutty final book, which is what I'm really excited for. I'm going to jump back into this and see if I can knock out that last 100 pages, which is just all one chapter. I don't know if you know anything about these books, but their chapters are enormous. I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna turn on the TV, throw some booktube up, and just read away. I've just finished Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation Part 2. It was okay. I didn't hate it, but again, because I already know every twist and turn of this story, it really wasn't that interesting. But like I said, I think I'm gonna take a break from this series just so I can give myself a little more time from what I know of everything that's going on, and hopefully get more invested in the next part of this story. Because again, all of this was really slow in the show, and it was equally as slow in the book. Though it's still a gorgeous book. Look at that. I love these covers, and the illustrations are equally as pretty. That was kind of fun to get to see the art and to get to see it written out. But it's done. Which is all I kind of really have to say about it. I don't know quite what I'm going to read next. Part of me wants to read Gemina next because it's another book on my TBR that I've just want to get done and want to be completely done with it and not have to worry about it anymore. But I also might want to start something that I think is going to be a little more interesting. I'll keep you posted on what I start next. Welcome back. It is the same day I finished the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. It is about, I want to say like 8:30 o'clock at night, maybe 8:45. But I just wanted to come in and tell you guys that the next book I'm actually reading for this vlog is The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. I am not that far into it, as you can kind of see. Like, I am 32 pages in, so I'm not far at all. It's kind of still setting up the story for the most part. I'm gonna do another hour or so reading out here in the living room, as I think you've only really seen me at. But yeah, so I'm gonna read a little bit more of this. It's interesting, but we're only just getting introduced to our main character, and we're not quite past like the synopsis flap. I guess I should probably tell you guys like what this book is about. So we are with our main character Lore, and all we really know about her is that she had some like traumatic childhood that she's not really talking about, but we know that she can sense and control death magic essentially. And she works for this poison smuggling rink, and currently she's acting as a spy and like fake dating this other poison smuggler. And we kind of open up with like her like conning her way out of rent for a while, and she's called by her bosses, or her adoptive mother slash boss, and she tells her to go like do this other job, but it's gone south and she's being captured by like the police in this city. So again, not a lot has happened, not much is being revealed, so it's really just starting off. So I'll let you guys know where I end up and kind of what's going on in the book. But right now I'm definitely interested. We'll see where it goes, but I will update you later. Hello. It's been a minute since I've updated for this vlog. I don't even know what the last thing you would have seen. Probably me reading Foxglove King. I'm still making my way through this. In fact, that's what I'm about to do. So I thought I'd just kind of jump in. So it is currently August 11th, almost 4:30. So I haven't picked up this book in a while. I actually did like a whole little impromptu reading vlog with library books just because Foxglove King's been having a very slow start, so I haven't been wanting to necessarily pick it up, but I have to do it. I have to get through it so I can get through more of this reading list for this month because I'm a lot further behind than I would like to be. So I think I'm gonna give this another maybe 100 pages. I think that's gonna be my goal, to read 100 pages tonight. And so I'm at least in the thick of it, and if I'm not feeling it, I might put it down and pick up one of the other books on my TBR. I'm 73 pages in, and we've really only just got through like the little synopsis flap. So we've met the king. We've been told to infiltrate high society to learn about what's going on and why people are disappearing with these villages, and to really look at the prince as like the main suspect. So we haven't met the prince yet, so fingers crossed it gets good soon so I can tear through this. Otherwise, I will check in when I have another update on either that book or if I'm switching to another book. Okay, I have an update for you. And yes, I am covered in a blanket. Leave me alone. So I have about less than 50 pages left of this book. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. On one hand, I'm really enjoying like the story. I think the magic's kind of really interesting, and the whole kind of conspiracy going on in this book is interesting and compelling. But they keep like throwing this love triangle at us, but it's not quite a love triangle because we have our main character Lore kind of caught in between Gabe, who's this like death priest dude, and they kind of like have some tension going on between them, but there's also tension between her and Bastion the prince, and they all seem to have some sort of connection that is pulling them together. And Lore states a couple times that it makes it feel like she knows them, and we had this moment where it's revealed that Bastion also feels that same connection, and we got this whole like betrayal from Gabe that may or may not be a real betrayal. I don't know. It's thrown a lot in the last few pages, so I'm interested in seeing where this ends. And I found out the second book isn't out yet. It comes out in April, which is annoying to say the least. I'm gonna finish this up. I have work at 3:30, which is fine because I'm gonna teach online anyways. I hope I can finish it before work, so I'm gonna be very upset if I have to like have a few pages left and I have to come back to it after work. But I will catch you after I finish this book. Again, I have like less than 50 pages. I'm so close. I will let you know if the ending makes me want to pick up the rest of the series, or if this is going to be a series I just kind of leave after this first book. But I'll catch you in that update soon. Okay, I finished it. I finished the Foxglove King, and I have thoughts about it. I don't know if it's because of my cold, addled brain, or if it's this book, but I have so many questions. I have so many questions by the end of this book that I don't know if I had a good time, if I had a bad time, or if I just had a confusing time, because this is quite a chunky book, right? And I feel like by the end of it, I have more questions than I did when I started. And I feel like I just really didn't get that many answers like I'm expecting to for the first book in a series. So let me explain what happened. So we get caught up in this kind of conspiracy that Lore and Bastion and Gabe are being used to incite a war, essentially. And that August the king and his twin brother are in on it. That they have brought Lore and Gabe into the capital under dubious means and are planning to kill Bastion to kind of make him the scapegoat for what they're planning on doing. And of course, Bastion figures that out because he's a smart little lad and essentially takes Lore and Gabe and be like, you're on my side now, because otherwise you're fucked. Or why be screwed separately when we can be screwed together and figure this shit out? And so Gabe does not like this, first off, because he has like this, I don't know if it's a grudge is a good word of saying, but he's got a complicated relationship with Bastion because of their shared childhood, and he admits that he has this jealousy towards Bastion for, it seems that he has no mistakes or consequences to his mistakes, versus Gabe lost everything for mistakes that weren't even his own, but because of his father. And so it's given him a bit of a complex about Bastion. And it doesn't help that they all have this really weird chemistry going on with Lore, who feels pulled to both of them, and that she knows each of them. So I don't know if I call it quite a love triangle, because I don't know if it's romantic necessarily between Lore and Bastion at this point, but there's definitely some sort of connection, and lines are drawn because Gabe betrays them. So in that betrayal, we find out that Anton, the twin brother to the king, is actually not on the king's side, but he wants to essentially make Bastion like the new godlike figure and kill Lore and take her power so it can boost Bastion's powers. And Lore's mother suddenly gets involved in this, and on this conversation where Bastion, who becomes king after the death of his father, promotes Gabe to being the next high priest since Anton was dealt with, and it just ends with like, me and my death queen need to talk. So him and Lore need to talk. What that conversation is going to be, I have no idea. And like I said, it just becomes this whole mess. And I found myself questioning like, what the hell is going on in this book? And none of that was answered. Like, I want to like this book. I do, because I find myself very interested in the magic and in what is this like weird kind of like religious history surrounding these like dead gods and the powers that are supposedly connected to them, and like how does that relate to Bastion and Lore? Are they like the resurrection of these gods? What is going on there? And what is this like apocalypse that is apparently in the mix of brewing and Lore is somehow connected to as being like the catalyst for this apocalypse? I don't know if it's because of this cold that's like screwing with my cognitive abilities, or this book is just kind of like a wild ride, but I definitely confused. So I think out of everything, I might give this book a 3.5 to a 3 star, probably more the 3.5, just because I enjoyed myself enough that I was hooked on the story, and I still think I will pick up the sequel when it comes out in April, but I'm wary that I'm going to be disappointed in that sequel if it's handled like how this first book was handled, because like I said, I have a lot more questions and I have zero answers to them, and I feel like that's annoying after reading almost a 500-page book. Like, I feel like I should have some of my questions answered, you know? But whatever. Let me tell you what I'm gonna read next. Hold on, let me go grab that real quick. So originally, I think my next prompt is the tarot card. I'm kind of reading these out of order. I'm gonna dip out of lore for a second and go to my Science and Divination class. And the first pick on that was the tarot card generator, and I had gotten the Fool, which I'll pop up on screen again here. But I had originally chosen Iron Gold for that prompt. But I'm going to switch it out. Not because I'm not excited to start this book, I am, but I don't think I have it in me to start this thick of a book, and I don't want to rush through it because it is the 14th of August right now, 15th of August, one of those two, and I don't want to force myself through this book and not take my time and enjoy it, because I have a feeling I'm really gonna like this book and it's gonna really put me in a good mood. So instead, I'm gonna swap this out and replace it with Chain Gang All-Star by Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, which I picked up from the library, as you can kind of see from its very shiny exterior and the stickers up top. This kind of has the same like yellow colors and has the same reds and blues and stuff. So it still kind of reminds me of the tarot card. It might be a stretch, but this is what I want to read instead, especially because I want to read this before I have to return it to the library. And I actually recommended this book to a friend, so she's gonna pick it up, and I kind of want to have something to talk about when I see her come the start of next quarter. I'm gonna read this book next. I think I'm gonna immediately start this one tonight, after I cook dinner, and maybe after I watch something. I don't know. We'll see how the night goes. I've already finished one book today, and so I'm gonna see if my brain is up for starting another, or if we want to take a break. But this is definitely gonna be my next read for the tarot card prompt. Hello. It is about 9:30 of Friday. So I had read a little bit of the book, and I didn't get to update you right when I started because, fun fact, my tripod for my phone broke. So I couldn't do any recordings. I had nothing to prop it up on. So that was super annoying. But luckily Amazon came in clutch, gave me same-day delivery for a new tripod, and this one's a lot sturdier. It gives me a lot more control, so that's great. I have officially started Chain Gang All-Stars by Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I don't know how I'm feeling about the start of it. I wouldn't say it's slow, because we literally start in a death match between one of our main characters and a legend who was had one more match until she was free, and it was this really weird interaction between the two of them where the champion didn't let our main character win, but definitely was kind of not in it to win it, I would say. She was more giving advice to our main character and like telling her how tired she was and trying to hint that something's wrong in this whole scheme
that's going on here, which is pretty much kind of like on par and like sets the mood for the rest of this book, because I haven't quite nailed down who my characters are. Like not necessarily, I know who they are, but I don't have a real sense of like their characters and their motivations quite yet, because everything's a little confusing, because we just have this. Did I even tell you the premise of this book? No, I'm gonna tell you the premise right now, just in case I didn't. In this book, we are following a series of fighters, particularly 2 women fighters who are in prison, and they have been sentenced to life. And in this world, when you're sentenced to life in prison or execution, you have 2 options. 1, to just be killed and to live out your sentence, or 2, to earn your freedom by surviving 2 or 3 years in these death matches where you're pitted against other death row and kind of life in prison members and are forced to fight and brutally kill each other, and then whoever survives the longest and becomes the fan favorite will earn their freedom. And so in this book, we're following Loretta and Hamara, who are 2 of the kind of like top fighters, as well as, and they're actually lovers, who are close to achieving their own freedom. But there's something kind of going off about this fights where the closer they get to their freedom, something fishy seems to be going on. So I'm like barely in it at all. You can't even see my bookmark, but I'm on page 33. I haven't quite got a grasp of this world quite yet and what exactly is going on. We're really just in the beginning of it. I better hop to it so I'm not up super late tonight, but I will catch you in the next update. Bye! So I cried. I knew I was. I don't know if I have the words to talk about this book, because Adjei-Brenyah is doing so much in it. From just the way he's using perspectives, to the use of the footnotes, to the characters themselves, to the multiple perspectives we're getting in the book. Not even just like the way he's using first person, second person, third person. Everything in this book is so complex, and it adds layers and layers to this story that I don't think I have the words right now to fully express all that this book is, other than just devastating. The ending of this book is devastating, not because it's nothing we didn't expect, but because even though we knew it was coming, it hurt. This book's easily a 5 stars. I don't think I'll ever forget about this book, and the way that it did not shy away from its brutality and how it demanded you watch and criticized you for watching and looking away and using it as entertainment. And it's a tough read. I will say this book's not for everyone. It deals with a lot of heavy stuff, and it doesn't let that heaviness go. Like, there's a few moments of brevity and lightness and joking where we're getting to know these characters, but you never get rid of that heavy feeling. And I know that can turn off a lot of people, but I think this is a book everyone should at least give a try, because not only is it dealing with really important issues, but it's so humanizing. All the characters in this are very human, and the more we get to know them and the more we're learning about them, we're watching them live in this brutal world, the more human they become. This is a story about being human and how we strip that humanity away from people for entertainment or perceived threat, for real threat. I don't know. I don't have a lot of words to describe this. This was a lot. It was really good though. I think I'm gonna go sit in silence and think about this book before I start the next one. I don't even know what I'm gonna read next, to be honest. All right, I'm a mess. I'm gonna go. I'll catch you in the next update for whatever I'm reading next. Hello. Okay. It's still Sunday. It's been a few hours. I've reset my mind after Chain Gang All Stars, and I'm ready to dive into the next book of this vlog, and which is I think the fourth book of the vlog. I've chosen Gemina by Kristoff and Amie Kaufman. I did start this book God, I want to say like 1 or 2 years ago now. So I don't remember quite what happened in the first chunk of this book, so I'm just going to restart it, which makes it eligible for the Magical Readathon. But I do know this book follows two characters who weren't exactly friends, but they find themselves an unlikely partnership as the ship's being taken over by someone. I don't know if it's like a gang or just like some intruder and like a powerful force that is like keeping all their friends captive, and these two have to work together, even though again they're not friends. They have some sort of past together. So it's a mixed media book, so I'm hoping I finish this one really quickly. I'm going to see how far I get tonight. It's about 6:15. I've already had dinner, and I think I'm gonna sit in another corner of my living room, just to switch up the angles you're seeing me from, so it's not always this couch. And just again see what is going on in this book and see how far I get. Catch you in the next update. Doom bugaboo. So I finished it. The last clip you probably saw was of me reading this book, and I didn't stop for a second. So like this entire book, I finished, and I was such an idiot for putting it down for as long as I did, for such a stupid reason that like, oh, it wasn't the characters I wanted to follow, because this was so good. I don't know what it is about this series, but it's like crack. It's so addicting and it's so interesting, which is like the science behind it all and just the pacing of it and the mixed media that has me like turning the book to read it. It's so good. And oh my god, it was such a fun time. Like I said, I could not put it down. This had my attention for the past 4 hours. Yeah, because I started around 6 o'clock, and now it's 11 o'clock, so 5 hours. So for the last 5 hours, it's been me in this book, and I finished it. So I am well on my way to being back on track for finishing this up. Oh my god. Oh my god, it was so good. I'm almost delirious with just like how good it was. And I want to pick up the third one, but I cannot pick up the third one because I cannot fit it into any of my prompts, because it's not a horror book and there's no clothing on the cover. So it must wait. And hopefully I won't put it off as long as I did this one. Oh my god, I feel so stupid. So where my old bookmark was, literally from the next page, like things just take off. It was so good. I'm so mad at myself for like not reading it until now, because it was so good. We still got to see our like Katie and Aiden and Ezra from the first book, who I loved and was really interested. But there's just something about Hannah Donnelly, like one of the main leads in this book, that was just so satisfying to read. Like she's just such a badass female character, like in the same way Katie is, but differently, because it's like all action. Like we see her be this like badass fighter, like picking up guns and like tearing down these invaders one by one. Oh my god, it was so satisfying. Like flipping to the page that will just like cross off. Like you could see here, like it has just like a page of just like all the people that are invading the ship, and every time one of them get killed off, it would flip to this page and with a big X over their face, and it was so fucking satisfying just to like have that cross off. It was so good. This book was so well paced and just so much fun. It's a gripping story that won't let you go. Like again, I sat and just finished. Like this is a 600 page book, like a 670 page book, and I tore through it. and I could not put it down. And like I said, I really want to pick up the next one, but I can't because I'll never finish my Magical Readathon TBR if I do. I'm gonna go take a shower and then I'm gonna go to bed because it is 11 o'clock at night and I would like to read some fan fiction before I tune in for the night. And my dogs are staring at me because I have been taking their spot on the couch. So I'm sure they also want me to go to bed. I will catch you probably tomorrow with an update on what I'm reading next. I'm thinking I'm gonna read Final Girl Support Group just because that's another one I can knock off really easy, and then I could spend the rest of my time dedicated to the Sapphire Altar and Tomorrow. So those are the only two I have left for my Magical Readathon. But for realsies, I'm gonna go. I'll catch you in the next update. Hello. Bit of a different angle, but that's because my house is currently being overrun by dogs. So this is the only angle that I have that has 0 dogs in the shot, which may or may not be what you want, but it is what it is because I would like a moment of peace to update you guys, just in case you thought I was lying about being overrun by dogs. This is not even all of them. This is just 3 of them, and they're all deciding they want to play with each other. So yay. It is the next day directly after I think the last clip or the last update I gave you. It's about afternoon, I think it's about like 1. And the plan today is to read and finish Final Girl Support Group. Just because it's a relatively short book. This is, I think, the most wild card of my picks because I just don't know if I'm going to enjoy this one. So I think I'd like to get it out of the way as soon as possible. The only books I have left would be the Sapphire Altar and Tomorrow. Which, Tomorrow, since I have that on Kindle, I think I'm going to read that really quickly because I just tend to read a lot faster. So I only have those 2 books left. And I have about a week and a half before the end of the month, so I'm on track to finishing. Granted, if I finish this book today or tomorrow at the latest. I'm hoping today. I don't have much going on today besides an hour of tutoring I have to do, and then I'm scot-free. I can finish this book in that time. It's only going to take me a few hours, really, truly, if I just sit and read it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Look at my floor. Alright, it is 9:40 and I've officially finished Final Girl Support Group. The dust jacket said on it, but you can see from the title, it's really the book. I finished it. Haha, another book done on the list and I'm still on track. So I only have 2 books left. Well, 1 book for my classes. So like that's the only thing I have to get done, which is good because I think if I continue at the rate I'm reading, I'll be good. Alright, but let me talk about the Final Girl Support Group. So this, if you haven't heard, it's kind of a very controversial book. So a lot of people either really like it or they hate it. And I think I'm kind of indifferent. Like there was moments I really enjoyed. I liked the concept behind it. Again, I love horror movies and I saw a lot of the tropes and I saw the characters based off of the major horror movies that I love. But I also felt that like the pacing of it got weird and the like who ended up being like behind it all was kind of odd. And it just felt like a little sloppy and like how it was revealed. Because one thing I like about my thrillers and my mysteries is that I like clues being dropped everywhere. And there were some clues here and there, but I think the perspective we're getting it in from our main character Lynette, who's very paranoid, I think kind of hindered our understanding and able to like objectively like view everything because we're just getting like bombarded by her paranoia and everything. She's kind of like looking at and suspecting and she's bouncing around a lot, which I guess in some ways has its appeal because we have an unreliable narrator, so we have to work a little harder to get the mystery. But at the same time, I don't know. I felt like I was dragged along and like thrown into a situation like, here's a solution, we're going now, and it kind of just like picks up and picks up and picks up and doesn't let itself down, which again is fine. It's very much like a slasher in that way. I think it does a great job in encapsulating that like slasher type movie feel with including some great commentary, but there was just some moments I felt just were clunky and just didn't quite feel like they fit, and it felt like they were just kind of like thrown in there for like shock factor and just like adding more complexity to a story that I don't think necessarily needed to be complex, because one of the beauty things about slasher films is that they're very simple in design and their premise, and that's kind of what makes them fun. And I felt like this book tried to make them a little more complicated than they need to be. So I think I would give, well, here, we'll hold up the cover for it. So I think I would give this book maybe 3 stars. Middle of the road, enjoyed it, but wouldn't say it's my favorite. Definitely not my favorite Hendrix book. I think I enjoyed Southerners' books called Guide to Slaying Vampires a lot more than I enjoyed this one. I am still willing to give more of his books a shot. I think this wouldn't like deter me from his writing at all, but I could definitely see why a lot of people had issues with it. But it is, like I said, it's like 9 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna go take a shower and go to bed. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to film stuff for videos that are coming out later this week. I think I'm going to film, and then I may or may not start the Sapphire altar. And I probably might start tomorrow and tomorrow at the same time, just because I can bounce off those. But I'm reading a really good fan fiction right now. It's actually a reread. I won't tell you what it is, because that's actually having to do with my next video. That will definitely be out before this video comes out. So you'll have already seen the fan fiction I'm talking about and all the others I love. But I'm rambling. I'm going to bed. So I will see you later. Hello. It is Wednesday night, about 8:39. So I'm finally getting a chance to sit down and read. I read a little bit. So I started the Sapphire Altar, which is the second book in the Vagrant Gods trilogy. So I read book 1 earlier this year, like maybe a month ago. I think I read it last month. Oh, thank you, Winnie. Stop licking me. So I'm excited to get to this one, because the last book ended in a way that I was like super interested in how it was going to go. And I started this while I was at my mom's house, but like, as you can see, I'm barely into it. I think I just read the prologue and like the summary of the last book, which every author should include that for, especially like big old chunky fantasy series. Always include a summary of what the hell happened in your last book. Yeah, so I'm going to read more of this book, and I think listen to the new Hozier album, because it's out and I'm very into it. And with this bugaboo, I think interrupting, I think it's time that I get started. Okay. Can you back up now so I can start reading? Oh God, your breath stinks. Okay, I'll catch you later. Hello. Yes. It is almost 6 o'clock on a Sunday. Yes, I'm still in my PJs. No, I will not be taking questions. I'm here to update you on how I'm doing on the Sapphire Altar. And as you can see, I'm not close to finishing. So today's the day I wanted to be done with this book, just so I can have the last couple days to finish tomorrow. But I had a very busy weekend. And Friday, I didn't get a lot of reading done. I got to about page 100. Like, I think exactly I got to page 100 because my bathroom started flooding and I had to have plumbers out. And then Saturday, I had plans with friends. So I was out all day and I just didn't want to do anything. And then I had to edit the video that's going out tomorrow, which is a fan fiction video that I kind of mentioned previously. So that's where most of my day has been. Now that it is like 6 o'clock, I'm gonna see if I can finish this. I don't know how far I'm going to get, but I'm gonna throw on some YouTube. And I'm just going to sit here and read until I physically cannot read anymore. Let's see how we go. So it's been a few hours. It is now almost 8:30, and I've read about 120 pages. It's a lot slow going than I think I want it to be. I think I wanted to pick up its pace a little bit more. But where the last book centers around the theme of how far are you willing to go for your vengeance and for what you believe in, this book is more kind of like uncovering the truth and what do you do when the truth kind of contradicts everything you've known. And while it's been really interesting to see how these characters are kind of like getting their world rocked more or less, and having to reconfigure their worldview when it's been different than everything they've been told and everything they've been fighting for. So for Cyrus, our main character, it's having to kind of come to terms with the fact that he has been forced into becoming this god of death, and that what he always believed was like the righteous path, that his family's right to rule, was actually born from the same invasion that he is currently trying to fight off. And then we have just like a sprinkle of other characters coming to their own realizations, like one character is realizing that she's half god. We have another character realize that his family was originally supposed to rule. And so everything's gotten messy. And while that can be really interesting to read, it's just bogged down the story a little bit. And it feels like creating unnecessary drama when we already had like really good drama to go with. So this book is messy in an interesting way, but also in a way that's kind of frustrating to read, because it's like, what is the point of building all this extra drama? I think it's going to suffer very heavily from second book syndrome, where it's all build up for the grand events of the last book, because it is going to be a trilogy, I believe. And I feel like not much has happened. There's been a lot of like conversations and finding out truths and then confronting people about those truths, or not confronting people about those truths and just like being pensive. So it's very slow. And I don't know if I'll be able to finish it tonight, even though I really want to finish it tonight. I'm gonna hop back into reading and I'll let you know either when I finish or when I have another update for you. It is the next day. I still don't know what I think about the Sapphire altar. I'll be honest with you. I think I need to sit with it a little bit more before I give you my full thoughts. Yeah, I'll save that. I might talk about it fully more in the wrap up I have planned for later this week. It's about 12 o'clock. I have a tutoring session from 3 to 4, and the rest of my day is kind of free. So I've just been pitter-pattering around doing some chores here and there. Picked up my room, put away the clothes I bought, stuff like that. Before I went to bed last night, I did start my next book, which is the Impling Summoning. For that, I'm reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. But I'm not very far. I literally just started just so I can tick off the requirement for the prompt. I'll put the requirements right here so you can see what I mean by that. I'm literally only 3 pages in. And it's only a 400-page book. So it's not that long of a book. And because it's Kindle, I'm going to fly through it because it's infinite scroll, babe, which means my finger just goes woo. But yeah, so I don't have much going on today. I was going to film a video, but because this is the last book I have, I'm just going to sit and finish it and get it done today so I can be done with Magical Readathon, which this month has kicked my ass. I don't know if it was just like the reading mood I was in or the books I had chosen, which I don't think I chose any bad books. I enjoyed a lot of what I read. I think I was frustrated with a couple of them, but overall, okay reading month. No like 2-star or 1 stars. I think 3 stars, the majority of what I read actually. But I digress. It's not the worst reading month, I think just the worst mood, and especially since I got sick in the middle of it. And so I'm hoping Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is going to be everything I need. It's going to make me cry because of just how great the writing is and the story. So fingers crossed, this is the last thing I need to do, because I'm going to do the 2 extra like certificate things just later on in September, because G said we could, and that's what I'm gonna do. I passed all my classes. My classes are done. I actually need to go submit the books. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I will catch you in the next update.
So I didn't finish it last night. As you clearly saw, I decided to end my night by playing Persona 5, and I regret nothing. And the reason why I didn't finish it is not because I'm not interested in the book. In fact, I'm actually really enjoying Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, but it's moving a lot slower than I originally thought it would. And that's because this book deals a lot with like character development and who are the characters, and we're jumping in between time where we're watching our characters not only meet for the first time, but creating this game, but jumping forward to the future where they're talking about the game and retroactively looking back at these moments that we had just read. And so it takes a slower pace to really understand everything. But I'm actually still really enjoying the characters and the stories so far. I was a little worried because everyone says, oh, both Sadie and Sam, who are two main characters, are like awful people and you don't like either of them. But I actually find myself liking both Sadie and Sam for different reasons, and they're not perfect in any sort of way. And the relationship gets complicated, but I still like them as characters. I think they're really interesting, and seeing them interact with each other has been kind of unique to see like how they're working together and like how their relationship dynamic works for them, not only in the creation of their game, but in how they bounce off of each other and how they frustrate each other. Now, I'm not very far in. In fact, I'm on page 94 of 402, so not very far in at all. It's slower than I want it to be, and I don't have the time for slow, so I'm very much afraid I'm not going to finish in time, but I'm going to dedicate tonight to just bulldozing my way through it if I can. It's going to be fun. I'm going to get it done. I still have a day or so. What really is going to kick my ass is editing this stupid vlog. I don't know if I'm going to get it out at the end of the month like I want to, but I'm going to try. But for now, I think I'm going to go back to reading. I'm going to throw on some YouTube as I do, just to have some background noise. Oh, but before I go, I will say the character I love the most in this book is Marks, who I love him. He's so sweet and kind, and he just loves Sam, and he's starting to love Sadie too, and maybe a little bit romantic, at least on Sadie's part. I don't know. If anything happens to Marks, if he turns out to be an asshole, I'm gonna be so fucking sad because I love him. He's just so sweet and nice. And if it gets destroyed, I'm gonna cry. All right, but I'm gonna go read and hopefully, not see Marks turn out to be the villain of the story. But until then, my lovelies, I will catch you hopefully when I finish this.
5 hours later.
So I was played. Literally, my last update to you was how much I loved Marks and how much I would cry if anything happened to him. Well, fuck you, Gabrielle Zevin. I should have known you'd break my heart, especially with Marks. You named him Keanu, my perfect man. And that's how, I didn't have the camera recording, and I'm glad I didn't, because the ugly tears that I was just trying to hold back and the faces I had to make to hold those tears back. And she's just, and then the section he dies too, we get this just like whole like point of view shift, and instead of being Mark's talking, it's you do this, so you're in his shoes and you're witnessing not only his final moments, but the conversations that are happening around him and the last moments he had with Sam and Sadie. I'm gonna cry again. Good, what else is going on in this book? I'm on page 306. I'm not gonna finish it before midnight like I want to. I'm gonna finish it tonight. I'm gonna stay up and finish it. If only so I can be over this pain. What other updates in this book? I see what people are saying about not liking either of the characters now as they're kind of like grown, but I still feel that they're still pretty likable. They have their faults. I think what they both lack is the means to communicate with each other and the desire to fully become vulnerable, and they respond to it in different ways. So for Sam, that vulnerability and that like desire to hide himself away is not because he doesn't love Sadie or he doesn't trust her, but he views that vulnerability as weakness, and that's going to be the final thing to essentially break them apart, that Sadie or Marks are going to see that weakness and finally decide he's not worth it. So it's a lot of his own insecurity, versus Sadie does a lot of self-sabotaging and kind of like refuses to think she's wrong. So the whole reason for their breakup, quote unquote breakup, between Sadie and Sam is that she comes up with this narrative that Sam knows about her relationship with Dob, who's a piece of shit person in the first place, and that he knowingly used that pain just to get what he wants. And all kind of evidence points to he didn't, or not that he didn't necessarily know about the relationship, but that he didn't know
exactly the extent of her pain, and that he didn't see that pain and said, fuck it, I want the game to be great. At least until this point. I'm not convinced that Sam knew and that Sam knowingly did that. I think it's a narrative Sadie built, and that no matter who contradicts that, even Marks himself says, well, Sam wouldn't have gotten the game, I would have, and put it in the CD, and he wouldn't seen this message, and blah, 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 blah. Even when confronted that, Sadie says, no, you must be wrong. I must be right. Sam is an awful person. She's kind of like forced herself into believing this, and Sam is still really unsure of like what divided the relationship, and like suddenly she like resented him, and she's kind of stuck in her own resentment, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think it's born a lot out of her resentment and how she's seen and treated in the gaming sphere outside of Sam, and Sam's distance that she perceives to be because he wasn't really her friend, when really Sam's distancing himself because of his own pain and his own insecurities about being vulnerable and being weak, and on and on and on. So this is very much a story about miscommunication, or not even miscommunication, like the lack of communication, and how when we get too stuck in our heads about our problems and not reach out to our support systems, how quickly we lose everything, and the relationship mean a lot to us. And Sadie and Sam's relationship is so great when it works, and it's so frustrating that they get stuck in these modes where it's not working. But I guess I'll have more thoughts about that when I finish the book. Like I said, I have about 100 pages left, so I might crawl into bed and read that. That way if I cry, no one can see me, because I'm in the living room. My cousin's working in his workshop in our garage, and I don't want him to come in and then see me just like I'm tears down my face. I don't want you to see that either. So I'm going to finish this book in bed, and I will update you tomorrow with the statistics of everything I read, my thoughts on everything I read, and so on and so forth. So I will catch you tomorrow. All right, guys. I did it. I finished tomorrow, and it is August 31st, 30th? No, it is August 30th, so I did it with 1 day to spare. My magical readathon is a success! Oh god. For a moment there, I was really worried that I wasn't gonna complete it, just because I was getting through tomorrow so slowly, and I was sick for a part of it, and I'm still kind of you can still kind of hear it in my voice. It's been a mess of a month, to be fair. At least for reading, but I did it. It's done. I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't have a TBR floating above my head. Still, I actually had a lot of fun with this readathon, and I read a lot of books I otherwise wouldn't have gotten to relatively. So like I got a book for my end of year TBR. I read a horror book that's been on my shelf forever. Oh no, it's a pretty good reading month. But let's get some statistics. Like, how'd we do with this monster of a video and this monster of a TBR? Over here, I have a handy dandy notebook with all my statistics. So this month for the Magical Readathon, I read 7 books in total. And in terms of pages, that is 3,153 pages, which is insane. And that's not even the total page count for this month. I did not feel like I was reading that much. I felt like I was reading not even 1,000 pages, which is crazy since I knew how chunky some of the books were, but I didn't think they were that chunky to get me to 3,000 pages. Okay, but that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this long ass reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading these books and a lot of fun recording the moments as I was reading them and just the reactions. I'm pretty sure you at least saw me cry once, if not twice, but I still had a lot of fun. If you like this video, please consider leaving a thumbs up and a comment down below. Let me know what books you read this month that you loved or made you cry. If you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. I release a video every Monday, and I've been having a lot of fun making them. So it lets me know that you want to see more content, and it helps the channel out. That's all for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!